Today we start Chapter 5, which moves into retail market strategy. So far in this course, we've gone through a lot of background information. We've talked about the different types of retailers, the channels that they sell through, and how they try to influence consumers through the buying process. Chapter 5 starts our conversation on the strategic approaches to developing a retail strategy. And also, we're going to talk about sustainable competitive advantage. So let's look at a retail market strategy, here. Our retail strategy identifies our retailer's target market, right? So the retail market, we talked about that in Chapter 4. A retail strategy contains the retail format and mix, and so that retail mix is the 6 Ps, and so we'll start talking about that soon. And then the last piece of a retail strategy is the basis on which a retailer plans to build a sustainable competitive advantage. So we're going to talk about the retail mix first in Chapter 5. There's a video that I'd like you to watch on Staples, right? You should have watched it before you started this lecture. If you haven't, please pause now and go out and watch it, because I want to look at how Staples uses the 6 Ps to build a retail mix. So let's identify the 6 Ps again. Product is the type of merchandise and services offered by the retailer. Price is the retailer's pricing policy. Promotion would be any type of advertising or sales promotion done. Presentation looks at the actual store design and visual merchandising. Place, of course, focuses on location. And people talks about customer services. It also includes talking anything that has to do with hiring, training employees, how they act in the store, how they interact with consumers. So I want you to talk about Staples retail mix in the discussion board for Chapter 5 and see if you can identify some unique pieces of their retail mix, and also make sure you identify which of the 6 Ps you're talking about. So let's move on to talking about a sustainable competitive advantage and the 4 approaches that a retailer can take to build a sustainable competitive advantage. So there's 4 overall approaches that we're going to introduce today, and then we'll talk about some very specific tactics in a few minutes here. There are 4 ways that a retailer can start to build a sustainable competitive advantage. You can build a sustainable competitive advantage by building strong relationships with your customers. You can also build strong relationships with your suppliers. Retailers will try to achieve efficient internal operations to help build a sustainable competitive advantage. And then finally, location can be used as a sustainable competitive advantage. So before we move on, let's make sure we all know what a sustainable competitive advantage is. A sustainable competitive advantage is something that separates you from the competition. It's something that your retail store is doing that no other retail store is currently doing. What makes a competitive advantage sustainable is that it cannot be easily copied. Right, so let's look a little closer at how retailers work to build relationships with their customers. Customer loyalty is really important in the retail world, and customer loyalty means that customers are committed to buying merchandise from a particular retailer. Loyalty means that customers will be reluctant to switch away to your competitor even if they can get the same product for cheaper, right? They're loyal to your retail store, so they're not going to shop anywhere else, right? So having a strong brand image can build that loyalty. Strong brand images facilitate loyalty because it reduces risks associated with the purchase. So we all know whose logo this is. This is Target's logo, and Target is known for having quality merchandise, right? So I know that if I buy something at Target, it's not going to break after the first use. If I buy something at Walmart, it might. Another way to build customer loyalty is through selling unique merchandise. Let's talk about Kroger for a second here. Unique merchandise, including private label brands, are products that are developed and marketed only by one retailer. So Kroger has private selection, and let's say that you absolutely love the private selection salsa for your chips and salsa. You can only get that salsa at Kroger. So even though you might be buying Tostitos brand chips, which you can get anywhere, you can only get your private selection salsa at Kroger. So you'll go there to buy your salsa and your chips. Another way to build customer loyalty is by having excellent customer service. It does take considerable time and effort to build a tradition of customer service, but some retailers have done that. Starbucks is known for service, right? So when you come in, they write your name on the cup, and when your drink is ready, they call you out by name. So that is a way to have wonderful customer service. And then another way to build customer loyalty is through customer relationship management programs. And we're going to talk in depth about customer relationship management programs later this semester. But CRM programs are kind of like a good example would be Kroger, where you have your Kroger card, and so you earn points for every purchase that you make. CVS, a lot of you probably have a CVS card. So these customer relationship management programs can help build customer loyalty, right? They can help convince customers to shop at your store and not the competition. All right, so those are some ways that we can build relationships with our customer. Let's talk about relationships with our suppliers. This is the second approach to building a sustainable competitive advantage. A lot of companies provide merchandise to consumers, and so they have to get that merchandise from somewhere. They get it from a manufacturer. And so by strengthening relationships, both retailers and vendors, manufacturers, can develop some mutual benefits, right? And one of those benefits is some low-cost efficiencies. So if you are collaborating by sharing data, that's a win-win for both the manufacturer and the retailer. So I have here a picture of Walmart's supplier page. Walmart has requirements for their suppliers. So in order to be able to sell your product into Walmart, you have to meet their minimum requirements. And one of those that they require is that shared data. And that's so the manufacturer can see if Walmart is close to being out of stock, and they can immediately send some on the next truck. So it eliminates some of that person-to-person ordering, which can cause delays in products. So there's a mutual benefit there for sure. Relationships with your suppliers, building that strong relationship can get you some special treatment. Some examples of special treatment include early delivery. So there are times where select retailers are allowed to start selling product a few days early, which would draw customers to their store. You can get scarce merchandise. So if there's merchandise that is in high demand and every retailer wants to sell it, if you have that relationship with your supplier, they're likely to fulfill your order first. And the third thing is that you can get some exclusive rights to select merchandise, so you would be the only one to sell it. And again, all of those things are going to draw customers into your store and help them choose you over the competition. Efficiency of internal operations is the third way to build a sustainable competitive advantage. And so there's two areas where retailers can really build some efficiencies. The first is in human resource management. You have strategies in place to recruit and retain talent. That's going to be a huge advantage for you over the competition because those talented employees are the ones who are going to be interacting with your customers every day. So you need to have those strategies to recruit and retain talent. You also need to have a positive organizational culture in order to retain some of the best employees. Another way to achieve efficiency of internal operations is through your distribution system or your information system. So again, that shared information can reduce stockouts. And if you have this up-to-date, powerful computer system, your inventory can be tailored to specific locations, and so it can help you with sales and help meet consumer needs. And then lastly, I want to talk about location for a quick second. Location is a key determinant to where people shop. People shop at places, that retailers that are close to their home. And so location is a sustainable competitive advantage because it cannot be duplicated. Leases are usually signed for 10 to 15 years. So once you have a location, you're there. And so that location becomes very sustainable for you because no other retailer can take that location. So if it's a good location, easy to get to, you're going to have an advantage over your competitors. So most retailers do not use just one approach to a competitive strategic advantage. They use multiple approaches to try to stay ahead of the competition. So I want you to choose a retailer and describe how it has developed a competitive advantage, or what the multiple sources of advantage are. And you can talk about that in the discussion board for Chapter 5.